Yeah, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat while we wait for everybody to join. To write where you're writing from. Hello from the Netherlands, from Canada. France, Berlin, Mexico, everywhere. Good, Daniela. Hello, Monique. Can we get started?
Yes, I think so. Okay. Um,
I'm gonna share my screen.
please do.
Yes.
Okay, right. Welcome, welcome everyone. Sotua, Karibu, bom dia, buenos dias. We are so glad to receive you in this meeting today. Design Reparative Futures, embracing the Maasai wisdom. My name is Thiago. Just gonna give like a self-description, visual description of me. I'm Thiago. My name is Thiago. I'm a black man wearing with a black hair, bit of brown hair, a little beard, um, wearing red African attire, and in my background we have a white background. Today we are together here to look into the colonial exploitative traps in making and weaving communities and movements, and the ways to transform or dismantle um, them in practice, in reflection, in conversation. And we also have a privilege to have Paul with us. You're going to know Paul from the Maasai people. He's going to share also the wisdom and some community practice and intentions um, that his community also lives with. So, and there are other ways to say what you're seeing in the screen. There are other ways to say welcome in Ma, which is Paul will tell more about it. It's the Maasai language. You are seeing on the screen now Cecilia Espolaru is also co-founder. You want to say hi, Cecilia?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Cecilia Scolaro, pronouns she, her. I'm a white woman with short, dark hair and glasses in my office with books on my background. And I started Design Reparations together with Thiago.
And we have also Paul Ole Leitura is joining us from Tanzania. Paul, where are you? To say hi to us.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Paul Ole Leitura. Andasoba, this is a Maasai greeting. Osotwa means the love for all. And I'm just sitting in the office. You can see the wall of the office. I'm a Maasai. I dress my shuka. It is a bit cold in Arusha. So this is how I address.
Thank you, Paul.
Representing my culture as well.
Thank you, Paul. And Cecilia. So, we would like to hear from you as well. You can put it in the chat. I see it's already happening. What is community for you?
Water?
So just
Right.
Thank you. So just look at my chats. On the chats, there are some cool learning shares, communities living in harmony for me. And some nice definitions and idea of community. Roberto, community, family links, home, embrace, collective wisdom, sharing. Thank you, Roberto. Ariel, community's abundance, created by living in collaboration with nature. Nice. I think we're going to continue learning and exploring from others what community is and how diverse it is, community, and what we could call as definition and what means to us. It's also personal, right? So, can you move to another slide?
Yeah.
So, we asked Paul to welcome us and share whatever you want to share to guide us, to transition us from the moment that we are where we're sitting now, maybe at your desk in your home, just to set us down and coming together to this meeting. So, Paul, I wanna hand over this to you.
Thank you so much, Diego. Thank you, our participants, Cecilia. My name is Paul. Once again, I introduce myself. I'm a Maasai, born in a small village in Ololosopan. I'm an activist and the founder of Mulika Afrika, a non-profit organization working in rural Maasai areas of Morogoro, Simanjiro, Longido, and Karatu. It is not only serving the Maasai, but also the rest of the Tanzanians. So I happened to meet the two good friends, Tiago and Cecilia, online, and we come up with this initiative of sharing the Maasai experience, the good practice, and the challenges that the Maasai are facing. As you are aware, we are a minority group that is living in East Africa, especially occupied in Kenya and Tanzania, southern part of Kenya, and northern part of Tanzania, where Arusha regions occupied 90% of the Maasai population. The Maasai community has 16 sections, which I can highlight a few.
Sorry, Paul. I was wondering if you could go now through a ritual or just a word or something to welcome us. We'll give you the space to continue with with our sharing. I'm so sorry, but how do you feel about? Yeah.
Apology. Apology. Osotwa Ramayana Yoboki Alaitoriani Kibolana Kiguana Ajo Kitabolana Kiguana Pogi Nagumaitu Pogi Tenebo Ashole. I open the meeting in our Maa prayer when the elders are opening the meeting. So I summarize it because I supposed to have a black cow net that I can just showing the blessing to the people in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Can I continue?
We will get there, Paul. It's just there's first Cecilia, and then we pass to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So, this session is designed to be accessible. I mean, we aim to do that, of course. Let us know if there's anything you needed or we are forgetting to address. There is the option of closed captions. If you don't know, just let me know. It's here in the let me know, or Cecilia also, how to activate that. Visual description, content warnings. If you have, yeah, as I said, if you have another accessibility requirement, just let us know. And we suggest this interaction norm, so your participation is welcome. You can participate in the way that feels most comfortable for you as well. Just remind guests to be respectful of others. And we are using English language as the main language for the call, but don't feel intimidated to speak your own language, um, and ask for support if you need it to translate that. I'm not a native speaker of English, and we are here as common language. There are other ways of expressing yourself, and just we hope to create a space that's more welcome. Private presentation part of this session, the session will be recorded, so it's being recorded. However, if you don't want it to be recorded, you can turn off your camera as well. There is a way also to rename yourself. Here in the image, you can see the options, how to stop your video and how to rename yourself. Conversation will not be recorded, so the sharing between the breakout rooms will not be recorded, and no personal information will be collected. So agenda, we started already with a poll welcoming us for the meeting. We had a welcome introduction. Then Cecilia will take us through community design and what can go wrong, and then community and care in the Maasai culture. This is both gonna take us through this journey. Then we have a moment of questions and answers, breakout room, reflections, and then a form that we would like us to. It's a way that we are finding to continue the conversation with you, and then the closing. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we are, learning today how communities can unintentionally replicate some harmful practices. But we hope to learn them or transform them. We also learn positive stories and practices from our own communities as well, and also from Paul and from the Maasai today. Over to you, Cecilia. Thank you.
Thanks, Thiago. So I'm just gonna give a short presentation, and we go more to hear about the Maasai culture. But we want to make sure that we address also what the problematic parts of community can be. So we start from the idea that there are many myths, surrounding community. So these ideas that what community will do, how people will behave, the role it will play in everybody's life, then turn out to be not that true. And this may sometimes fail to recognize that communities are complex entities made of relationships, of people, have continuous tensions that shape how individuals and the group behave together. So these tensions is also something that we would like your collaboration about. We came up with some tensions that we have experienced in our own dealing with communities and design community. But yeah, this is our observation from our experience. And again, your participation is more than welcome. So the first myth that we've called it the dream. And this idea that, we'll create a community and it's going to be a safe, democratic space where everybody has a voice. We are the good guys, we'd never replicate oppressive system. And with the best intentions, that's often sometimes not that is not the case. So without, we have some real life experience without naming anything, but for example, in a community around DEI, we've experienced a lot of enthusiasm at the beginning and creating a lot of high standards for welcoming diverse people. But then, going over with the time, Thiago was talking about the remarks that he received from some neurodiverse people that felt that the group was not actually welcoming their needs, but because there was no necessarily nobody in the creating group that had that experience or that had that sensitivity, that was not taken into consideration. So as a result, the group ended up replicating some of the harms we aim to address. And of course, this is a bit of a simplification, but these are the tensions that often we need to navigate when we design communities. On one side, we want to design and define as much as possible the purpose, the intentions, the rules of participation, really the foundations of the group, and really be intentional about that. On the other side, we need to keep our eyes and ears and hearts open for everything that actually happens in the community. And being actually even open to throw away some of the work that we have done at the very beginning. So it's always this tension between these two forces that needs to be balanced by whoever is taking care of the community. And that also is related to another tension, which is on one side, we want to create spaces that are safe, where people are not harmed, that they're free to be themselves. At the same time, we want to distribute control. If we are really looking for a communities where everybody is involved, you want everybody to be part of that community management and community weaving. And sometimes it's also very difficult to balance and to create and find the right place between this tension, because on one side you cannot really keep it completely safe if you get complete participation by everybody into the management, and on the other side you want to keep it always open and inclusive for all. And the third tension, and mind you, we've presented this in this kind of binary way, which is just a way to show this tension. In reality, all of these different tensions are connected to each other, and it's like a bit of a string game that you pull on one side, and it actually takes with it a lot of other energies. So again, for the sake of simplification, another very important tension is between belonging, which is creating a place where I can meet my peers, I can share my lives, we share the same values, we share the same perspective, and at the same time manage to welcome diversity, so also different perspectives. And indeed, where do you make compromises with common shared ideas, and where you can't make compromises? So that is a continuous negotiation. It's not just something that you can set up at the beginning of community and just forget about it. And that also brings me to the second myth, which we call the movement. So this idea that when you set up a community, everyone will pull 100% of their resources, and together we will save the world, and ourselves. So this idea that because we sometimes come from very individualistic society, communities are a place of salvation, and that's because by just getting together, that is already going to give everybody involved so much more than our individualistic life. And we are not downplaying that, but also there is a little bit of this romanticization of this idea, right? So another example is a community where everybody was willing to dedicate their time to make it successful. We had a very strong sense of belonging at the very beginning, setting deadlines and plan activities, and everything went well for the first couple of months. But then the engagement began to wane, and people started to have difficulty committing or began to drop out altogether. So we kept asking ourselves what we had done wrong and encourage individuals to commit to what they could manage. But that's often the case, especially of communities that happen, in the free time of people, that end up, being something that people have to fit into their lives, and a lot of the burden ending up on a few people that need to carry on the whole work. And that brings us to 3 more tensions that we wanted to share with you. And again, this is just some we identified, but feel free to add your own in the chat. So this tension between on one side of the ambition for change, so the purpose of the community to work and come together around very big problems, and the actual scarcity of resources, time and money, sometimes to really make the activities of the community run. And that's something that I've seen in many places. There is often very difficult time to accept that the resources that we have only allow us to do so much. And at the same time, that the community is not just a place where you take things, but also a place where you give things, where you have to sometimes make compromise and make sacrifices. So the community is a place where, there is reciprocity, everybody's enriched and thriving thanks to the community. At the same time, it requires work, as any relationship. And the collective negotiation of these tensions sometimes also require personal sacrifice. So that is another tension that happens. And often it's also related to some systemic forces. And that's where we see oppressive systems that are part of our societies that inevitably show up within our communities as well. And we talk about patriarchy, we talk about colonialism and capitalism, white supremacy. We have this idea that sometimes our community are safe and guarded from those, but those mechanisms and those patterns are very much part of everybody's that exist in this system. So we also need to, accept and recognize that these patterns may occur and try to actively prevent or safeguard or trying to create as little harm as possible. Because there are some colonial oppressive forces that show up as well in community. and they show up by, creating controlling situation or over extraction of people resources, where indeed there are few people that do a lot of work and a lot of other people that benefit from it, or communities that become very transactional. So I come in the community in order to get something out of it and not actually to participate to it and like question myself in the process. So they end up being oppressive and replicating the same mechanisms of oppressive systems out there. They also often lead to gaslighting and accumulation of power by individuals that may appeal ideas of Eurocentricity and white supremacy, or externalizing the consequences of the harm. So those forces are always present in our society, and they are present also in our communities. So we don't pretend to know the answer on how. This is not a how to avoid the colonial traps on your communities. We are opening this question and these reflections to all in order to, explore together different experiences, different practices, different ideas. And as Design Reparations, we found that there is a lot of wisdom in indigenous practices. And yeah, Tiago, do you want to introduce why we invited Paul specifically today?
Sure. Thank you, Cecilia. Yeah, it's quite a lot. I mean, I also feel free to share any moments, your reflections and questions, disagreement, agreement, whatever you feel like on the chat. Um, and I think the reason that um, we the call is also to listen to Poe and what his community also brings is that, like as in it's described here, the Maasai people have been maintaining their community and identity despite colonial forces, despite the trying to erase them times, taking their land and so on. And I'm pretty sure many people in this call also in their communities have experienced something like that, or exactly, or even, yeah. Um, so there are much to learn when you're together. Um, and that's why I think it's great to have Paul here and Paul. So we'll invite Paul to uh, Cecilia is gonna share your presentation, Paul, and then you can carry on as you want. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Tiago. And, I am Paul, and you can see the history of the Maasai from 15th century to 17th centuries. We are part of the Nilotic groups, and we are pastoralists and warriors traditions. We resisted colonialism, but through our resistance, we have been losing a lot of land, which is really hunting us until now. Our language is Ma, not Maasai. Maasai word means I can't do. That is a word that originated from the colonial. When colonialism was there forcing us to do things, we reacted mass, I can't do, I can't agree. And that is when the word Maasai originated, but our language is Ma. Go to the second slide. The Maasai, the Ma community has 16 sections. These are the sections of the Maasai tribe. We have El Damat, we have El Porco, we have La Rosa, we have Laikipia, we have El Kankare, we have Isiria, and we have El Paracuyo, El Kesongo, Dorobo. Personally, I am Irpurgo. I am the second section of the Maasai. These are the section of the Maasai that are purely originally the language, the norms are starting from that section of the Maasai. But all this section of the Maasai are now coming up to become 3 clans: Laiser, Romolelian, Laiser Langa Jinarok, Laiser Langa Jinanyoki, and Romoleli Angajinanyoki. So which means that we put this section in 2 big groups so that they can support each other, because one section is more popular than the other, and it is populated everywhere, which is Laiser. But the rest of the clans, the rest of the sections are few. So they combine together so that they can resist colonialism, but also they can fight other tribes together and become one. And these clans are not marrying each other. You marry the other clan. You marry the Laiser clans, and they marry Odomoni, which is comprising of other 7 clans inside. And Laiser comprising only 2 clans: Laiser Langa Jinaro, Laiser Langa Jinanyoki, Ongidongi. These are the 3 sections. And it makes these sections people to collaborate together and have belonging, because they belong to the same clan. When years back, Maasai go to heading other people livestock, taking livestock from other families. And if you are only alone in one of the clan, the other clan can override you because you are only one. So that is why one of the reasons these clans were formed, so that you can fight each other and compete for resources. This is a Maasai boma. The Maasai boma is made of natural material, I mean acacia trees, and it is called Ankam, Ankaji, Inkajijik. If it is many, you call Inkajijik, Ankam when it is first as a crabs. So it is Ankam. But this one shown in the picture is Angaji. This is a house. This is the home. This is where I've grown up. This is where I've been raised. And this is where I still live. And living in the same cycle home have really make us Maasai belonging to one another, having a sense of sharing and sense of unity. Somebody's problems is our own problem. It's our problems. We tackle challenges as our own problem. We also say a child is not yours. A child is for the community. An elder from another home, another boma, can send a young man to come and call you and send you to another village because you belong to the community. And even your parent will not complain about it. So when the construction of the boma it has 2 parts. One part is fencing a boma is a responsibility of men. energy, those young men that are energy, not elders. And building a house, Angaji, is the responsibility of women and girls. So you cannot find a Maasai man making a house, but you can find him fencing a boma. And also the responsibility of men is to prevent, to protect livestock, and also protect the family, the boma. The next slide. As I was speaking, this is what I've been speaking about. Traditionally, a homestead and labor. Men, traditionally, a house, a boma is made with the crows, and it is a cycle fashion, which might have 10 to 20 houses. And you find maybe that is a one family, or it is combined of different families. And for us, a home, we call it Ankaji, Ankang. Ankaji, as I said, a house, and Ankang is a boma, a cycle. And so men go looking for cows, raiding other people cows, and protecting the family. Women remaining doing a lot at home, cooking, collecting firewood, helping as well, looking for the calf, the small animals around the home, and also taking them to water, because you find most of the areas our people stays, water is a bit scarcity. So traveling a long ways to fetch water. And then we have warriors. This the security people in the community. And normally in the Maasai community, the warrior in my clan, in my tribe, we only stay 3 to 5 years, and then another generation come. Why? Because it is very expensive also to maintain these people, because they don't eat other food rather than only milk. At drought season, where there is no milk, it is becoming hard for them. But also, they cannot eat the meal alone. This is a tradition in my culture, that a warrior cannot eat his own food alone. If now I went to Leitura family, and then there is a food there is milk, I want to take milk, my tradition are not allowing me to take that. I must call another warrior from another family. So I must call another warrior from another family so that we can share. If there is no warrior, a young lady is called so that we can share the same meal. Why this was introduced? This is because it is a way of sharing for those who don't have. And those who have, they don't take their own food alone. This is the reason why the Maasai don't take their own food alone. You must share with your neighbor, with your colleagues. And to add on that, you find in the family there is relatives that are poor who doesn't even have a cow, but you cannot recognize them from that family because they give them cows to milk, and the time you take your cow, you must leave one cow that will be belonging to that family. So you cannot realize who is owning this and who is poor in this family. Yeah, this is you can see, like, it is me, it is my younger brother. we were retiring from becoming warriors. So the first step is shaving, and The second one is being allowed to eat food, another different food at home, but also to be given milk by your mom and your father. So this is a ceremony. The ceremony calls Ewokoto Akole. Ewokoto Akole means after you are a warrior, now you are stepping to become a junior elder, but you are not already qualified to be a junior, an elder. You still behave like a warrior, but you are not again a warrior. So this is the day we were celebrating on our event. I and my younger brother, I think Diego has another photo of me putting also the same skin of animals. Yeah. So this is this is the identity of our people. This is what we are proud of. You see, I put dressing. Wherever I go, I put shukas, I put Maasai attires. This is one of the things that identify us. This is one of the warriors. When I take one of my friends in one of the traditional boma in Ololosokwan, so they were dancing to the visitors who visited us in Ololosokwan. So these are the things we are proud of, and we are always, and this is how our elders always telling us, wherever you go, make sure your children know they are Maasai, and make sure you have all the necessary things that making you to be known as the Maasai. A sword and a gloves, a block, and also attires for the Maasai. When you go back home, when you're at home, you dress fully Maasai. These are the things that really identify us from other people. We have traditional cultural practices that pass through oral traditions. There is when it happens, somebody killed another person accidentally. There is a way that in my community they do compensation. But before compensation, there is the first process of mediations and discussion between the clan. It's not families now because it is beyond families. It is between two clans discussing the death of a person until they reach a discussion of now they starting negotiating the compensations, and they will not discuss the days after 5 to 7 years. This is when the conversation starts, and then when it is agreed between the two clans, and then now there is a temporary home that is built, which the family that have caused the death of a disease now form a boma, which all the animals that have been contributed can be taken there. And then after that, there is a day to give those animals to the diseased family. What they do, they get them out, and then they call different people, and you can be asked, just get in, take any you want. So that is a way of chasing demons, way of cleansing, so that the remaining one can be taken to the diseased family. Then we have other ceremonies like rituals, marriages, and Enkebata, Unoto. Those sorry, it's okay. You can go to another slide. These are the good practices: traditional justice through elders, rotational grazing. Traditional justice, when it happens, there's a conflict between two families, between two clans, always elders resolve. These are the people giving guidance. And even if there is any breakout of the marriages, and I can give an example, last year in January, we had a very big community meeting gathering that is passing laws. One of the law that is passed is a marriage law. When it happened, there's a break of the marriage. Before it is when the marriage is break, and the husband demand a lot of things that he has paid for the family he married. Now, the law has passed that no, if you paid 10,000, you only get 10,000. No benefit behind what you have just given, because before it was a lot. And now the community is obligated to obey, because it is the community law that is already passed. Like the other one is naming children. They also pass the law that for us who are educated, we must put all our names in Maasai names, so that our children will not cross each other and marry their relatives. So instead of saying Paul, you must put my Maasai name is Lengoko Mulika Leitura. Lengoko means a son of a grandma. So every name in Maasai have a meaning. So they pass that. So we have a strong community support, as I said earlier, and traditional knowledge in medicine. We normally, like when I was a warrior, there's a time we go forest for only taking traditional medicine and eating meat in the forest for almost a month. And also, if it happens somebody injured himself, we have several medicines that we can put on the wounds, and that person get healed. I didn't speak about rotational grazing. We have what we call olokeri. Olokeri normally is demarcated for small animals to graze there, and also old sick animals like sick cows, sheep are only allowed to graze in that area. And when you happen to be found grazing animals, livestock in that area, which is already agreed not to be allowed, you'll bear some of the consequences, like fine. You give a cow. You also, sometimes if the young people found you, you'll be beaten thoroughly until you can be really hospitalized sometime. And also you must pay a big fine because you violated the community laws. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. My community and my people are really facing most of the challenge and big challenges nowadays. We still facing what we call neocolonialism. I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but really we are facing the neocolonialism because our land is the most land which is occupied by conservation and investments. In Tanzania, most of the national park were belong to the Maasai before were conservation. This is one of these pictures you see. This is our people were moving when they were evicted by the government to give room for the hunting companies in Arabs. That is the company which occupied most of our land in Loliondo, in Korongoro. So we are facing a lot of challenges, especially land grabbing. This is one of the biggest challenges, but also we are facing our spiritual places for prayers have been occupied because people are being chased from their original ancestral land to give room to investors. People who have been founders, many there, we have been there for many years, and we have been enjoying our life in our areas. But because of our governments have been much in corruption, they don't really care us. They don't care life of the Maasai people. If they want, anyone wanted to invest without even consulting them. We have an example of the eviction in 2022, where in my own village, more than 23 women were injured, shot by their own government. 2,000 people and 300 were migrated to Kenya for refugee because of our land, the natural resources we have been preserving, living together with animals. Now it is becoming like a curse to us. And to give you the good thing is, every Maasai family or clans have an animal which is belong to that clan. For example, my clan has La Rosero. Hyena is our animal. If you kill an hyena in my home, it's like you kill my relative. It's like you have killed a person. You must compensate. You must pay. I will not eat any food in your family until all the community rituals are done. So Maasai and animals, wildlife are very connected. We are very connected with nature. But also another challenge is climate change. Due to climate change, populations, we are facing mostly droughts because of the climate change. Modern education is, I can say, to us, it's just changing us to have knowledge, but it is quite not changing us a lot to change our traditional culture. Because every Maasai, wherever you go study somewhere, you come back and you bear the same, and you marry the same person from your community. External forces like, I am an activist, and circumcisions is one of the things I normally advocate to end in women. But you find it, actually it is the rite of passage for the girls. So it is a challenge. It is really a challenge. But we are coming up with a good way, that because a good way to retain the rite of passage, but not cutting the girl, which is slowly the community is gaining momentum to understand it. So these are the ceremonies and rituals that I've been speaking up there. Ankepata, these are the boys' initiation pre-circumcision. These are the young boys from 10 to 14 years, and they move from one area to another. There is a very spiritual place where the community goes and perform these rituals. And this is only organized by the fathers of the New Age. When they say the fathers of the New Age, does not mean it is your child. It is your child. It is the generation that you'll be called the father of. Like now, I am a Koryanga. My new generation is now coming. So I'll be called father of the new age set. This is what they mean. So it does not mean that this is your child and you can prepare the ceremony for him. And in these ceremonies is where the chief, the most warrior and powerful leader is chosen before circumcision. Oloro Koringa, Olomishira Kupes. This is a very powerful leader in our community. And it is only chosen before circumcision. Sorry. And then we have Reparative. This is circumcision for the young generation, which is, as I said, from 10 to 14 years. And then this is when the community give permission for the generation to undergo circumcision. When circumcision Reparative starts in Maasai, it is starting from where every Maasai section is. So it is when it is open. It is normally open in Arusha in a place called Indoyor Morwak, which is this year. There is an event for all the Maasai. There are some declarations that which are going to be happen, to be given resolution. Conflict resolution is always settled by elders, especially on conflict over land grazing and cultural change. These are resolved by elders dialogue and sometimes legal system, but not frequently used by legal system. Normally, our system in Maasai community are very flexible and solve our challenges. Because one of the example I can give you is no one is in Maasai community. No one should be denied any access to water or grasses in anywhere in Maasai places, or even temporary settlements for grazing. So if you violate it, you'll be in trouble. This is something which is already agreed and passed by the community. My conclusions: the Maasai culture is a rich and resilient. Good practice hold wisdom for modern challenges. Support for tradition and adaptation in key preservations. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for the rich sharing. This I think I was watching people while you were talking, wondering also your check and shed some of the questions. So I think we're gonna have 3 minutes to just receive some questions if you have. Just open your mic and can ask Bo also or one of us.
Yeah, I think there was also a question in the chat from Barbara.
Yeah.
So regarding tradition justice held by elders, and in one hand, I believe that their knowledge and wisdom are the best guidance. Though I wonder if it is always the most adaptive way for every struggle that can face the community, especially new generations that challenge new realities in faster path compared than before. How to compose traditions with the realities, needs, and belief? Paul.
Thank you. Thank you for the good question. It is quite true that the new generation is challenging some of the old practice, but always our community direction and guidance bring us together to understand and be compromised to our culture. Our culture never oppress people, but it has some of the difficult rule which is challenging few people who have not undergone most of our culture. Like if you have not gone to become a Maasai warrior, you're always challenging the practices. If I show you I become a warrior, I have a lot of tattoos, and you go to the forest for a month, and you get a lot of techniques, and it's like passing a military academy. When you come back home, you know how to handle challenges. You have respect to everyone because you have undergone many difficulties that make you understand the real life.
Thank you.
Do you have space for one more question? Then we'll continue.
In the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Soundboard. Yeah.
So my
I'll ask.
question is,
Go.
that you said that you seeing colonialism still playing in your world now. Most of the world colonialism is over, and then the people whose past generations colonized, they feel a guilt about it now. How does this whole dynamic, not just what is happening now, what has happened in the past, and how people feel about it, how do you look at it all?
Thank you for your questions. If people occupy your land, people forcing you from your life. Pastoralism is life, the system, the process. The land is everything. Land is life. And investors are coming to the areas where these people are living with their happy and normal life, with their culture, tradition. They say, you people are not doing right. You are not living in a better life. And we invest here so that you can get a better life. I don't think it's right. People have right to choose what they can do. We don't hate investors, we love. But there's a way we need them to collaborate our life, the way we live, instead of chasing us from our ancestral land. We have been chased from Serengeti, they call Serengeti. My mom was born in Serengeti. That's why her name is Serengeti. We have been chased from Serengeti to the plains of Ngorongoro. And then now we have been chased and we have been chased to Handeni Tanga because of the conservation. We have been living with animals many, many years. And most of the Maasai, 90% I can say, are not eating animals. So they are colonialism and they are neocolonialism because our government themselves the one forcing threat on their own people for their greed of money.
Let me just ask one follow-up question. Small, short.
Yeah, we have to
Tell
move
me a
to
good
the
example of
breakout
investment.
rooms.
Give me a good example of investment then.
I think we need to move on to the breakout rooms. I'm sorry. I think we can continue this conversation maybe in parallel later. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much.
Indeed.
Yes. Can you show us thank you, Paul. Can you show us, Cecilia, the slide? I can
do that, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, here.
Right. Okay. So now we're going to reflect. We're gonna answer. I mean, this is a suggestion that we have, but we wanna hear from you. You know, what are the tensions that you have experienced in your community? Just a little bit of reflection or more reflection on what we are going through within your communities. What are the practices that you have tried so far? And what have inspired you from the sharing from Paul, from the Maasai practices as well? I just need a few seconds to open the rooms.
And how much time will they have?
I think, can you post on the chat as well these questions, Cecilia?
Yes.
I think I'll put it 10.
No.
I think we can do 10 minutes.
Yes.
Otherwise, that's too short, right?
Yes.
So. I will need at least a minute to assign everyone. So, Bo, if you want to share something else in the meantime, my apologies.
You want to, maybe you can respond to the question from Kenneth.
Yeah.
That says, is the Maasai fabric produced by the Maasai? And if no, I find it, where is it? If no, how did you adapt? Yeah. Is the typical Maasai fabric made by the Maasai people? If no, at what timeline did the Maasai people adapt into their culture? Paul.
I don't really. Maybe you can frame the question like maybe I did not get well, so that I can respond.
The fabric, the shuka. Do you does the
yeah. Well, the fabrics are not the Maasai. Our fabrics is skin, the one you saw I put on and my younger brother putting on. So the fabrics are the modern one. So before it was not the red, it was white, and mostly it is the skin one. So this is we just adapted from other people, but it has come to our attention that most of the people who are putting on this red are the Maasai. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Paul. I'll open the rooms.
Yeah.
See you in 10 minutes.
Okay, so do you want me to respond to the other questions?
No,
Let's wait before, yeah.
We are now going in breakout rooms at the moment.
Breakout rooms. Let me know if you have any problems of joining. Sometimes it happens. Mark, Jessica, are you there, Jessica?
Because you didn't assign people, they have to click on it, right? Or not?
No, assign.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but sometimes take. Jessica, are you there? But sometimes it's something. Yeah. Let me just. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, Mark.
Mac,
Yeah,
Charles,
Mark.
Graciele, Nyambura.
It's not joined. Okay, so it's fine. Yeah. So thank you, Paul. Thank you for your reach.
Indeed.
You make good connections with the community practice. How you feeling?
I am really feeling okay, and I find it a lot is coming. What I don't I see is very nice. I enjoy presenting also
Okay.
as in question. Maybe what I see, like I have taken much of the time explaining. So that's what I can see is a bit of challenge.
Well, I'm taking a look at the chat if there is anything that we want to address when people are. There is an interesting question. It says if there is any wisdom tradition about how to deal more skillfully with the invasive species. And it makes a correlation that colonialism is like an invasive species. Nice. I like it. How many groups did you create? 3?
9.
9, because it shows 3. Okay.
There's 3 people in each room.
Nice.
Okay. And when they are back, I think, looking at the time, they will be back on 20. Or we do like 3 minutes of harvest. I wish we could do more. Because then we will have to move to the forum.
Yeah,
Right.
Tiago,
Sorry.
I've not shared the diet which
Which one? Say again, Paul?
I've not shared the Maasai diet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's for Paul, what you can do if you feel like we
No,
can
no,
we can share
yeah.
the slides with the people after.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. And your
Sure.
contacts as well.
Yeah,
And this
sure.
recording also will be shared.
Okay,
So
sure.
it's
I think
also
if we may be making some of this conversation, like putting a month, 2 months, and coming up with a new thing, so I think it will work a lot. And it depends on how the reaction of the participants is, if they are willing to.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is really like for a wide audience. I think we can explore also more like smaller groups into some kind of journey. This is a bit difficult to know who's in the room, who shows
Yeah.
up.
Mhm.
So, but indeed, I think that's exactly what's also in the form that we prepared, which I copied the link now. But yeah, I'm actually also curious to hear what people discuss in the breakout.
Yeah. So we need a time for the forum as well. You're gonna do that. I need to have 4 minutes. I mean, Cecilia, what we can also do, and Paul, is to ask people reflections to send us in an email if they have reflections as well
Yeah, but
after the call.
in general, we can send them an invitation, tell them to write to us to follow up on the conversation, and maybe that some of the questions that are here. There is another question I think here which is interesting, and Alexandra, thank you for the insightful presentation and dialogue. Paul, my question for your consideration: how do you maintain elders' wisdom, guidance, and decision making as leading community amidst outside, for example, colonial legal orders? Are community wisdom, tradition, and legal orders recognized by neighbors? So maybe you can think about it. If we have time, we respond. Otherwise, I think we compile a list of questions and we put them in an email afterwards.
I see there's now Gracie there, and yeah, Bure here. Nicole, are you with us?
Yes,
No.
I'm here.
No. I think okay. I don't know. I think they're not joined. I don't understand. Yeah, I think it's yeah. Okay, they're not.
Maybe they can't participate as in the chat rooms, and they can just. Yeah, you see, my mic and camera isn't working.
Yeah, I can see it. So, thank you.
Good. Thank you for responding.
Thank you for letting us know.
You can type if you want to tell us.
Yes, just let us know. Sure, the question is around now. 2 minutes left. Paul, do you have for closing? Do you have anything that you normally to say to people like a good when you or like when people are going, moving or going away or traveling? What do you normally say?
Normally, there's a word to say. There's two words. One, as I talked to you last, I told you there's sere
Sere.
and there's naishwa kule.
Okay.
Naishwa kule, this one is always honey and milk. So, which is normally used by the Maasai community in blessing. So it is something which is very important when they tell you naishwa kule. Yes, yeah, we can see receiving blessing. We can see each other tomorrow. Yeah.
I actually have a question that I didn't ask you because there wasn't enough time, but maybe we have a minute. And you said that there are community laws, but you say also that everything is in oral tradition. So also the laws, there's nothing written down.
No, nothing was written. You can't imagine I was in my
laws, even the community laws now that you have, people just everything oral.
Wow. Like I went to one of the village in Kiteto, and I found them that discussing on how to handle the compensation for the person who killed another, and nobody knows. So nowadays, what we do, we record and write at least, so that if those elders pass away, the story does not pass away as well.
Yeah.
So, I was just doing my work, and I stopped and I attended the meeting, and I give them briefly what they can do. They say, "Oh, so you are an elder. You are welcome to give us the direction." So it is according. They are very good in listening, very good in keeping stories on their brain and giving the way it is. They will not change anything. Like as I said when I was presenting, they pass the law in marriages. If the marriage break, normally if I paid to your family 20,000 or $2, and then I double it 2 times. Okay. Now they say what you give is what you get. It is already passed. If I brought a bull to your family, and I want a compensation after that, I must take only a bull as I give a bull.
Hi everyone. I think we are all back on the same room. So I'd like to hear some. We understand that the time is ticking, and for this call, and some people might need to leave after. You know, but we would like to hear some voices, and if we cannot, just yeah, we will be sending again this recording. But we just spoke with sending the presentation, so feel free to send us questions or anything if you cannot hear here. You can leave it also in the chat the question you have. But who would like to volunteer to just share what was discussed on your group? Let's see, Barbara. You don't have
Me?
to. Yeah, if you
Okay.
feel like.
All right. So in our group, actually, we shared about our experience in the community setting, in a more not only community but in a collective setting, because I think it's two different things. And actually, it was quite interesting that we came across with Charles actually with the same conclusion that we in an European setting, it was hard to find dialogue and like shared engagement in those collective settings. That it was very hard to manage around this. And Alessandra actually shared her work with Indigenous communities in Canada, and it was quite interesting to know about this because at least in Europe is not that there is not that much information about Indigenous conditions and work in Canada. So actually, yeah, we have learned a lot about Paul presentation and how he shared his culture. So thank you so much, Paul, because it was very inspiring. And I think is the common conclusion we came across probably is like to open our minds and just to listen, to learn to listen and yeah, and reflect, because we need a lot of reflection. We don't to not jump into conclusion, but at least to keep it and to reflect on it.
Thank you,
you.
Barbara. Where are you based, Barbara?
Actually, I'm based in Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But I'm French, as you can listen. So I try my best to hide it. But
You don't
thank
need
you
it.
for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, one more person. I would like to give more time, but
Maybe I can share a little bit from our group. It was this tension between doing too much to have results in our communities, or letting the community also take responsibility for what's going on. So we share a little bit of how this is a tension and how some practices that could that we could approach towards that. And we were really inspired by Paul's many things we learned from these conversations, but specifically this aspect of really taking responsibility, one generation, the fathers in this case, taking responsibility for the younger generation, and not just for the kid or one child, but for the generation as a whole. And also this aspect of finding a community's purpose, as like, for example, pasturing or the land in itself as an essence of something that the whole community considers vital, and this finding, you know, this core aspect within a community that everyone sees as, you know, the vital aspect that maintains this community alive. So yeah, that was pretty much it, but thank you. Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Tiago and Cecilia.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Pleasure having you here. Yeah, how do you do this now, everyone? We would love to keep listening to you, but um, Cecilia, you take us
Yeah.
to the next
Yes.
idea.
Please, I'm posting on the chat a short URL, and we would really love to hear from you. There is also the possibility for us to continue this conversation. You can connect with our community. I'll post it again, and yeah, you also see the LinkedIn of Paul. You can connect with him and with us as well. This is just 1 hour and a half, so not much time. But if you can respond immediately to the form, it's very nice. Then we can really collect your fresh impression about this session, and give us guidance also for the future. We want to enable more and more conversations with Indigenous cultures for community, for design, for climate resilience and regeneration. So you can click on the link, you can take the time that you need to respond. And if you want to leave any comment on the chat, you're welcome.